A Pennsylvania voter went viral after he was asked why he voted for Donald Trump. Matt Wolfson told the Philadelphia Inquirer that, Trump, yeah, he's kind of like Hitler. And then was like, I'm going to give Hitler a chance. Oh, what? In Scranton on Wednesday, Wolfson, the 45-year-old former construction worker, said, look, I'm not exactly in favor of Donald Trump being a dictator. I mean, yeah, he said he's going to be a dictator on day one, but, I still voted for him. He also said that he did believe that he would keep the United States out of wars and maybe bring peace to some of the other conflicts, including Ukraine. Quote, he's good and bad. People say he's a dictator. I believe that. I consider him like Hitler, but I voted for the man. Well, there you go. That's why y'all need history classes, okay? I know, but he's like Hitler. You mean the same one that started the biggest war of the 20th century? World War II? He invaded Poland? That whole thing? I mean, how's that for being anti-war, right? So actually, it's kind of a bad comparison, right? Because so far, Donald Trump hasn't invaded Poland. Just saying, right? The whole quote is insane. Okay, look, here's the thing. I'm not in favor of new wars. And I think one of the big mistakes that Democrats have made was continuing to shove billions upon billions of dollars into the Pentagon, along with, of course, Republicans who did the same thing. Now, of course, Democrats are like, well, you don't understand. We have to keep funding the Pentagon, or else, Republicans will call us weak on national defense. Which is, by the way, what Trump had been doing. He said, the Democrats have allowed the military to become weak, and I'm going to rebuild the military. So, if you think Donald Trump's not in favor of more military spending, you haven't exactly been paying attention, right? Now, what's funny here is that now Republicans are saying, would you look at those warmongering Democrats? Huh, no, we're the real anti-war party. Really? Really? Under Trump? Yeah, okay. So, Donald Trump, to be fair, hasn't actually started any new wars. He did order the assassination of Iran's top general, Soleimani. That was the thing that happened. And dropped the mother of all bombs on Afghanistan. But, no new actual wars. Right. Got it. But no, one of their big things is, hey, why don't we stop giving all of our money to Ukraine to use against our friends in Russia? Oh, here's the thing, though. Russia invaded Ukraine. Okay. Notice, by the way, that the right wing does not talk about, at least I haven't heard, the billions of dollars going to Israel. So the Israeli government under Netanyahu is doing ethnic cleansing of that area right now, saying, northern Gaza, hey, the people that were displaced there, you will not be allowed to return to your homes. You are not going to allowed to return at all. Well, what is that? They've been ethnically cleansed, okay, from that area. And now the Israeli government's going to take it over. Now it's theirs. They've taken it. So, yeah, ethnic cleansing. And Netanyahu is thrilled with Trump's election. Okay, they had calls before the before November 5th, obviously, during the election, and so this lack of a ceasefire, this ethnic cleansing that's going on in Gaza right now, has actually majorly benefited Donald Trump and harmed Kamala Harris, because Harris and the Democrats refuse to speak out against it, refuse to actually stop Biden from sending billions and billions of dollars in aid, lethal aid to Israel. So, yeah. Trump's not going to stop that gravy train, okay, for Israel. But there's a good chance, and I don't know if that's 100%, but there's a good chance that he will stop money going to Ukraine. Perhaps He will if he gets something in exchange, but we don't know. Okay. Basically, he's going to look at it as it's not my problem, but maybe if you give me something in return, then maybe I'll send some money towards, to you. But we'll have to see. So, yeah, he might not be starting any wars that we know of for now. Possibly with Iran, maybe. Or with China. So I don't know. I mean, just because he hasn't started any before and says, oh, I'm the anti-war guy, that doesn't mean that there's not going to be any wars. Okay. That said, it's pretty clear that what they're doing is focusing on internal matters, like immigration. In fact, Trump just tapped Stephen Miller to be his deputy chief of staff. Okay. Remember, this is the guy who came up with the family separation policy, which resulted in families literally getting ripped apart. Okay. There are still some 500 to 1,000 families that are separated, and it's been, 5 years, 6 years? Now, if you remember the Elian Gonzalez thing, right? If you thought that was bad, and I did, scenes like that are going to play out every single day in this country when Donald Trump takes power and basically sends the military to go and round up migrants, ripping people apart, ripping out families, putting them in camps, into private prisons. That's what's going to happen. That mass deportation plan. Those private prisons, the denaturalization of citizens, okay, that's all fascism. And this guy is like, yeah, I voted for it. Yeah, sure. It just gets, it brings me back to Charlie Kirk, right? And somebody in his audience being like, you know what? I can't wait for fascism to come. If Donald Trump wants to be a dictator, yeah, I would like to have, if there's going to be a dictator, I want it to be Donald Trump. I think that's the quote. So, yeah, here's the thing. His administration is probably going to end up hurting us in the long run. All of us. Okay, the people who voted for him. Inflation is expected to spike. There's expected to be more income and wealth inequality, more corporate consolidation, because it's going to gut all the guardrails that will prevent the biggest robbery from the American people by the wealthy that I think we've ever going to see. Okay, it's going to be off the scale. All right, it's going to be less safety nets. All of this stuff's going to be terrible for working people, terrible for the people who voted for him as well. And that said, people are looking at what's going on right now and are thinking, well, things aren't really all that great. I mean, eggs are expensive, gas is expensive, so I guess I'll just vote for Hitler. That's what this guy did. And I'm not kidding. That's, by the way, how it worked back then. Germany had an economic disaster, right? And the people were like, I guess we're just going to try fascism. Didn't exactly work out, though. And, of course, I'm not saying that we're like Germany back in the day, okay? Our economy is pretty good for certain people. It's actually great for people at the top. It's never been better. We've got more billionaires than anyone. Corporate profits are through the roof. But along with that, we've got more wealth and income inequality than France did before they had their revolution. And everybody knows what happened then, okay? All the wealth gains that were made have been going to the very rich, the very top 1%. And that, of course, is by design. The donors rigged the economic system against workers. The Democrats did not stop it, of course, because they get paid by the same donors. Would you look at that? The parliamentarian has stopped me from raising the minimum wage. Oh, no. I guess I can't rule against a parliamentarian. So that's one way the Democrats have ceded the ground to the far right. And, of course, Republicans, they took the economic conditions for the working class, working people, young people especially, and are like, you know what your real problem is? It's not the corporations that are screwing you. No. It's the immigrants. It's the school teachers. and their unions. It's the wokeism. Yes, that's what it is. No, it's not. But they make those arguments, and they've used their massively well-funded propaganda arms, okay? They pump billions of dollars, okay, into this, their own communication, their own media spaces, right? Where they can just constantly churn out propaganda against immigrants, against women, against woke, all that stuff, and have been able to convince people using that they are actually the party of the working class. When in reality, of course, they're the ones that put up a billionaire for president, funded by another billionaire, Elon Musk. And so in reality, we don't have either party that is for the working class. They are all funded by the donors, big donors, that prevent any large structural changes. Now, the Democrats will do some change around the edges, and those changes are positive, and they will actually help people, right? Whereas Republicans, their changes, once again, not exactly fundamental, but are always negative and harm working people while exacerbating the problem by funneling more and more money to the super, super rich. But under both parties, you still get a similar result, even though there are still crumbs handed out to working people, to regular people. No structural change, no large structural change at all. Everything stays status quo, stays the same. And this election, more than anything, is a rebuke of that. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.